is time to finally break down the finale of Roller Jam, episode 6. I can't believe we are here at the end. Please like and subscribe. I do breakdowns of other skating videos all the time, and I would love to continue to share my knowledge with you so that you can learn all of these skills that these wonderful skaters do. I was so excited for this finale. I had so much work to do, and I put off watching it because I was like, I need to finish my work before I do this because I'm gonna get so caught up in it. And I am glad I waited because it was such a good episode and it was such a heartfelt episode. I have not cried yet watching this show, and this one got me. This episode got me. I will say what the results are later in the episode, but first, let's break down what happened. In case you don't know, my name is Nicole Fiore. I'm a 4-time world champion roller skater, coach and choreographer, and I teach people just like you how to do these skills. And you can learn from me through my membership right here on YouTube or on thatnicolefiore.com. Okay, so we have 4 teams in this finale. We have House of Skate, we have Bad Boy Skate Crew, we have Skate Gravity, and we have Honor Roll. All of these teams did so well. There were slight mistakes for everyone, but nothing too catastrophic that it was a bad routine. They all had really great routines. We also have Joanna Gaines in this episode as our guest judge. And side note, Johnny's pants that he's wearing, I wore those for a Barbie themed Halloween party that I performed at with some of my favorite skaters. And yeah, the link to those on Amazon is in the caption. Last thing before I get into the first performance, each member of each group has to go upside down. That is the challenge for this week. I was very curious how everyone would go about doing this because some of these skaters are not quite trick skaters in that sense. If you told me to go upside down, the first thing that comes to mind for me is someone else lifting me being upside down. Second would be a cartwheel. I didn't know where some of these skaters were gonna go, but I was pleasantly surprised. So we have a score of 45, that's the max score for technical, score of 45 for creativity, and the highest score you can get for the challenge is 10, which makes a total of 100. And we got some really high scores this time. First up is Skate Gravity. Now we are down to 3 competitors in this team because Junior got hurt 2 episodes ago. So they are still without him. And again, I was really curious how they were going to go about this because they are known for huge tricks. Overall, really, really great performance. I loved this one a lot more than last week's. They really did feed into their skills, which were storytelling, and Cardell did a really good job of using his dance background in this. They have a lot of skills within this routine. One of my favorite parts is right here where they grab him and spin him around and he's on his knee. Really impressive because that's really tough on your knee. Now, all of these skills that they do, you can learn within the membership. Again, at my site or right here on YouTube. They have a good heel toe spin. Then they go into a lot of pivots, which I really love. Multiple toe stop spins on the left foot and the right. Kim goes into an arrow spiral, that's what I call it on the site. She kind of struggles getting into it, which is very odd because she's very flexible and has good balance. So I found that to be a little surprising. I think it was just the cut that they used. Their partner work was really, really good. They really used each other and finished it in this really nice spin lift. Ash actually lets go with her hand and grabs her own foot, really showing off that flexibility and trusting in her teammates to hold the correct position for her to not injure herself. So much respect to that. I thought the ending was really beautiful. I will get into their scores in just a bit after I've gone through each routine. Next, we have Bad Boy Skate Crew. I am so impressed by this crew because I think they've gotten better every single time. They start off in like the biggest spectacle. There was much better lighting in this episode. Maybe it's because, I mean, obviously it was because it was the finale, but maybe it's because there were less routines and so they could actually do more and really draw it out, spend some time on lighting and direction and where the camera was going to go and all of that, because this episode nailed it in those aspects, especially with them. When they start, the lights are out and there's spotlights, and this was so eye-catching and so beautiful. I thought it was the best choice. They do a lot of cool stuff in this routine as well, a lot of skills you two can learn. I will name them out. So Bunny starts in a strut walk in place, and then they kind of do like a version of a C-step, pressing into those inner edges, giving the drama, giving the moment. That I thought was so cute, Bunny jumping into their arms and then up onto their shoulders. Now this move right here, Johnny called it a crazy leg, which he was like, crazy leg, wild leg, which one is it? Crazy legs. No, that's not a crazy leg. Crazy legs are done in place, moving one foot then the other. Terrell calls it a snake walk, which kinda, but alternating legs like that, I call it forward dips on my site. If you were to bend your knees a little bit more, it would be just like doing a dip, which is usually done backward. Therefore, I call it a forward dip. And they do it to a really fast beat, which I found to be tricky. Especially to stay all together. That was, I think, the most impressive part about most of these routines is they did stuff very quickly, like to a quick beat. From here, they go into kind of a downtown. It's a series of crosses in back and front. Really good to get down floor and to gain speed. They come in from here into a group from a pinwheel. This, I didn't like that she had her arms in front because it made her kind of hunch. It would have been better, I think, if her hands were behind, but then maybe it would have been too chest forward. I don't know. That's just a little critique of that. All of this with them together, I thought was so good. And then a super fun, playful moment right here to take time to have fun and celebrate with the judges, I thought was very smart. All of this, fabulous, each of them individually. And then Bunny goes into this lift, and her hair is so long and it just slaps Sean Christopher in the face. Obviously, you can't help that. You can't even see him in it because her hair is covering. And it was a great lift. It was nice to see them actually do a difficult lift with her because all of their lifts have been fairly easy. This is where I got emotional. So Sean Christopher talks about his dad who has dementia. Anyone who deals with a family member with dementia or Alzheimer's, I feel for you so much. I myself lost my father a few years ago and he was battling that. And it is so difficult to see someone go through that, of course. He puts a light on that his dad has never seen him perform. So being on a TV show, he's able to see him, and that was so touching, and I was just like a mess watching it. I'm almost a mess talking about it. That is such a beautiful thing that I didn't even think about in terms of creating a TV show to spotlight skating. Of course, I'm thinking all the other reasons of why it's amazing that we're putting a spotlight on roller skating, but those moments of, oh, your family who has not yet been able to see you perform can finally see you perform because it's on TV. That was just absolutely beautiful. Along with the teams winning, they also are getting a donation to their rink of choice. And Sean Christopher is a dance teacher at a high school, and he wants to create a skate program for the kids to go after school to Cascade. And I thought that that was such a good idea. My entire life, I have known that roller skating rinks are safe places. There's so much history in that, where even in an area that is not necessarily the safest, the skating rink is your common ground. The skating rink is where you can go and be safe. That's a really tough thing to take on from a management perspective, from an ownership perspective. That's a lot of responsibility to keep a place safe. But roller skating rinks have always been that, and I hope that they really continue to be that, at least the ones that remain open, because that alone is so tough, which is amazing that they are giving a donation to a skating rink, because that is so needed. So many rinks have closed down in the past 20 years, 30 years, and it is really, really upsetting because we need those safe places. We need those third locations. We have work, we have school, we have home. Some people don't have those things, and we need a safe place to go. And roller skating rinks have always been that. So, okay, House of Skate. This was a good one, and they skated a little more, but mostly they were together. They worked together. They were really, really good in their connection with each other. Joanna mentions it. She's like, they're moving as one. And I totally agree with that. It was really nice. I loved the costumes, the lighting. I just loved it all. It was very theatrical in this episode. They were really good as a group in this choreography. They really matched. And this is what I'm talking about, with it being so fast, especially right here with the leg kicks. That's hard to do, number one. And then to do it together, very difficult. To do it together and quickly, their music was so fast, very impressive. We did have a little slip. Marshawn did like an extra spin because he was falling down, which was a good recovery because he could have just fallen and he didn't. He did an extra spin, still hit all the arm movements. Really nice. This right here where they're in a line, beautiful, but I kind of wish they had been rolling when they did it. That would have added an extra element of moving. And to keep everything going, Laurent even has a little trip right there. To keep it moving would have been awesome. And then Laurent does this and looks like he lands exactly on his knee. And Joanna kind of makes a face at the end like, oh, and I think that's what she saw because that looked like it hurt a lot. But it's the finale, it's the end. You better go all out because why not? Last group, definitely not least, we have Honor Roll. Now, Hunter hurt his neck. He explains that he has a herniated disc. No fun at all. He got through last week. He finished the routine. He did really well. But this week he's sitting it out. And luckily they have a lot of members. They had 6, including Hunter. Now they're down to 5 without Hunter. So it's still a good number of people for a group. A really good number, actually. Kind of easier than 6 to have 5 because you can have 4 people doing something and 1 spotlighting. That's a little more even, a little more symmetrical. So hate to see Hunter not in it because Hunter's amazing, but it actually kind of made sense. The funny thing is they did Dua Lipa Houdini. Darian toured with Dua Lipa. So they didn't touch on that. They didn't talk about it, but side note. Now, the beginning of their routine, I rewatched, I paused and rewound a million times because I needed to see this 1 footwork thing that they did. This is really cool. Again, see one person in front highlighting the 4. Now, Darian almost hit Steve. By the way, Steve, I don't know you, but I want to because you are so good and you just look so pure and authentic. Like you look so kind and amazing and I want to be your friend. Darian almost runs into Steve, like hardcore almost runs into him, catches at the last second right there, gets right back in line. Like nothing happened. Now that is a professional. It all happened so fast. So right here, I needed to understand what that was because they have their normal cross out, but then they do like, it's almost a quick snake walk the way that Darian does it, but then I watched each of them individually. They all do it slightly different, but together you can't tell. Together it looks like the exact same move, but it's like a transfer of weight. It's like a put your right foot down in front of the left and then put the left down, boom, boom. But the way Darian does it, if you slow it down and watch him in the center, he does it like a snake walk. It's very cool. I needed to understand that and I have yet to put my skates on, but I'm going to and try to figure it out for myself. Of course, matching so well, but then they do this heel toe roll, which is honestly quite simple, but it's very good when they do it all together. But to get back, they do like a normal backward cross pull and then what I call an opposite backward cross pull. Again, another skill you can learn within the membership. So it's like a cross, and then they go into a heel toe, but they push themselves off so that they're rolling forward. Darian is supposed to go, I think, this way because he has to get set up to go across them in the next little piece, but he slips going into the heel toe. So he kind of just like creates his own choreography to the side, which actually kind of works out. Then they all get into a line and Darian does kind of a traveling crazy leg moment. There's a lot of dips right here. They're little, they're not taking their time going really low, but there's a lot of dips. This is their classic choreography that I love so much. It's so clean. you really, you can't get mad that they do a variation of it every time because it's that good. What was really fun about this one, like I said, I rewound and watched each guy individually after I watched them as a full team. Everyone did so well and they're moving so nicely together. That's why, like, Steve does so well. He's so clean that you almost don't notice him because he doesn't do anything wrong. So he just kind of like works in the choreography. Watching each of them individually, I highly recommend doing that. And that's why I'm like, Steve is not getting enough credit. Like, we know they're all good, but huge shout out to Steve. So we have a few little highlighting moments here. Dylan comes through first and amazing, goes into a split on his wheels, goes back up. He looks a little off balance there at the end and the camera cuts away. I don't know what happened there. We don't see it. But then Tony comes through with these flares, just so good. Also at the ending here, it got a little heartfelt for them as well. Jordan talks about how he's been doing this for so long and says that it's probably the last time that he'll be doing something like this in a competition. I myself took a break from performing and really put my whole heart and soul into teaching and building the membership and the course and building my website and everything to be what it is. And it has been so amazing. It is hard to continue performing at that level. And like he says, he was not necessarily in shape to be doing the show, but I am so glad that he did. And Tony talks about how he kind of lost himself before this. So there's a lot of heart and soul within all of these skaters, not just this team, but there is a lot going on. And they talk about it at the beginning, but skating is a lifestyle. And especially for these skaters in this show, skating is not just a hobby, it is their careers, it's what they love to do, it is truly like how they live. It's funny because, of course, there's so much more to life. Like, it's not just skating, but the way that we treat skating is so much bigger than just like another thing that we do. There's so much heart and soul, there's so much history behind this skating and behind these skaters. So you really felt it in this finale. It felt like a really big deal. And of course, I mean, it is a big deal. It's the first time that skating has had a spotlight like this. So it is a big deal, but you could feel it. You could feel that weight. It made watching it really fun, really enjoyable. I don't know if they have a season 2 yet, but I have been asked by a few people if I would do it, and I don't know. I don't know if I would do it. I said no to season 1. I don't know if I would do season 2. I don't know. I'm not saying no, but I don't know. Let's get into the results. So if you do not want to know what happened, please pause, go watch the show, come back. If you want to talk about it, I want to hear what you guys thought about the routines, what you thought about the results. I finally agree with the results. I was so happy about this. Judging this is really hard. Those different disciplines, pinning them against each other, that was by far the hardest thing. And how I really truly was not sure how this was going to go. But I'm glad that it went the way it did. Last time, I'm gonna say spoiler alert before I tell you what happened, because the winner is, that didn't sound like a drum roll, Honor Roll Skate Crew. The scores were high and close. In 4th place, let me work backward now, we have House of Skate. 40 for technical, 42 for creativity, and a 9 for the challenge, which brings their total to 91. Pretty high, all in the 90s this episode, which I was very happy about. In 3rd place, Skate Gravity, with scores of 41 for technical, 44 for creativity, which I thought was really high because 45 is the highest, and an 8 for the challenge. So their total was 93. The judges have to be very strategic with this. Just like in artistic skating, you have two scores. First one is your sort of technical score. Second is sort of your performance score. So it is the same way in this show, but with that, you have a score of 50 and 50. There's no extra points for like a challenge. In World Skate, it's a completely different story. So you can do math and be like, oh, I want this person higher than this person, so you gotta bump up the person who you want to be in first place. You got to bump up their second score, their creativity score. So you can kind of mess with it with like who you want to be in what place. That's why the World Skate stuff is so much better with judging and way less biased, because there's so many different factors that go into it. You can't like maneuver people around super easily. That's a totally like deeper conversation for later if you want to have it. Anyway, in second place, because we already know honor roll 1, we have Bad Boys Skate Crew. Now, they did so well. I am really happy that they got second. Bad Boys had a score of 43, 44, and 9, making their total 96. What I didn't know, maybe I should have, maybe they mentioned this, I don't remember, but second place gets $15,000. So that is really awesome because they still got a prize. But then honorable, our winners, thank goodness, their scores were 44, 44, 10. So they got a score of 98. You couldn't give them a 45 in there, so they get 49. I am so happy for them. I truly feel that those guys deserve it so much. And hopefully the rink that they are giving their money to, their donation, really appreciates that. I know that those guys have worked so hard for so many years. So I am really happy that they are at the top. It is so lovely to see a group of guys work so hard in what they do and be so good at it and so charming in how they do it and so emotional and so happy and so loving toward each other. So good job, honor roll. When they brought everyone out at the end, it was like an all skate, because if you put roller skaters on a skating floor, they're gonna skate. It's not just like, yay, hug, congratulations. They're gonna do that and then they're gonna take off, which is exactly what they did. So it was a total party at the end, as it should be. Life is a party. Like I said, please like, please subscribe. I have more breakdowns coming at you in the future and a fun little surprise for next week. So stay tuned. Have a good day.